our kids can achieve more than anything you can imagine. And that goes for neurotypical kids too. If you're a parent and your kid or your loved one was just diagnosed with autism, I recommend you being understanding and being patient and
Mm.
get ready for your life to be forever empowered.
Thanks for tuning into the Vibrant Soul Society. I'm your host, Baba Sam, the Miracle Man. Today, we are blessed with a very bright, vibrant soul, Crystal. Crystal, welcome to the conversations.
Alright, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to get right into this conversation.
So, for people that are unaware, who is Crystal Jordan?
Oh my God. I love this question because I get asked it so much. Who is Crystal Jordan? I am an autism advocate. I am a sister, a friend, a Christian, and most importantly, I am a mom. I always say mom last because I am more than a mom. I am the co-founder of Becoming Her magazine, the founder of Sisterhood Publishing, where I help moms and grandmas become published authors. And I am the founder of Zachariah World, the brand I created around my son who's diagnosed with autism. I am an author that writes about autism awareness, inspired by my son.
So, what got you started in this journey of your life? Was the birth of your son and seeing the challenges he faced? What was your journey?
So my journey is really simple. My son was diagnosed with autism at 2, but before he was diagnosed, the doctor told me, my best friend told me, and my son's godmom told me, but I didn't believe. But one day I went to my son's doctor's office and I said, "Hey, I think he's autistic." She said, "I know he was ready." And he was diagnosed in October of 2019. But after he was diagnosed, I took him to the fair that Friday. And after I took him to the fair, I was crying. I was sad. I agreed to what I thought was my son. That Monday, I was calling ABA, speech OT, hitting the ground running. I even got a conversation with somebody who I forgot which field it was. They was like, "Your son was just diagnosed and you're calling now?" Yes, because at the end of the day, I'm my son's advocate and I need to push for what he needs.
That's great. So, once you were pushing for his needs, and you stepped in for advocacy because you thought there was something missing? What was that part of your journey?
My answer is gonna be a lot different. So I honestly did not call myself an advocate in the beginning. In the beginning, I was just advocating for him because my late auntie was like, you're gonna be your son's advocate. Okay, I understood that. But I thought I started writing my book just like you because I realized it was not enough books on the market that looked like my son. There was a lot of beautiful books on the market with beautiful blue-eyed kids. And that's beautiful, but what about my son and other kids that look like him? So I created the book just like you. She had this amazing cover. When I created the book just like you, people started calling me advocate. God gave me the title advocate and people gave me the title advocate. I started getting asked to do interviews. Eventually, I started calling myself an autism advocate because my book has resources. It has what is autism. It has a glossary in the back of it to learn more about this. And it also has signs and symptoms in there as well.
So, it was very important to get out there that it just doesn't affect the white children. There's actually it affects everyone. So, you wrote this book for your son because all the books that you're reading, no one looked like your son. So, you're like, well, we need to show that this group is also impacted. Besides the book, it sounds like you really dove into this to really be the advocate because you're creating these workshops. You're helping people with the process for special education. What's it, the IEP process? How did this all come about? I mean, it's a lot from a new mom to all of this.
That is so true. I have published so many books. It's crazy. And I just started because I needed my son to be represented. When I got into the IEP process, I'm gonna be honest, my son's first IEP was very scary. And I can only imagine how many other parents feel how I felt. So at this point, I'm still not calling myself an advocate. Then my son had a terrible teacher, terrible experience. And I knew from that point forward, I needed to advocate with the IEPs. I learned so much information. Parents started calling me. And I just started showing up at schools for other parents for free and advocating for their babies and getting results. I was getting what they needed. But I was a new mom and I just did it scared. And to think that I have made impact in so many people's lives, parent lives, is a blessing. If I can go back to when my son was born, I did not see me being an advocate. I did not see me helping other parents. I'm just Crystal. Who am I? I didn't see any of this. To think that I have made an impact in so many people's lives is an honor. So I know how I felt for my son, our first IEP. I know how I felt when I started with calling myself an advocate and the teacher was playing with me and playing in my face. I knew how I felt. So I just started to learn about IEPs and I'm here today.
A lot of people aren't familiar with this IEP process. Can you go a little more about this and why it created so much fear as you're just entering this? Can you step us through why it's such a fearful, scary process?
Um, my first IEP meeting was scary because you have a document and I think it was 35 pages. It's data. Beyond the data, you have teachers. It was just a lot going on. I didn't know anything. When you don't know what parent get their kids an IEP and they know they know the idea law. What parent knows their parent rights? In the beginning, you really don't. I didn't know I was supposed to get my son's IEP before the meeting. It was a lot of things I didn't know. I got it, but I didn't get enough time to actually go into it. I didn't know what I was looking at. So I was scared.
That's really sad that we see this. We get all this data, but we forget that there's a person on the other side of this data. That can create a lot of fear that you're just seeing this data about him, but you're not seeing him as an individual that has rights and certain freedoms
Right.
that they need.
For me, I needed to make sure that it was certain now, I made sure certain terms not on the IEP. I made sure that it's worded in the sense because it can follow him to make sure it made sense. But when it came to the data, I didn't understand it back then. I was like, "What is this? What is this?" Now, it's like, "Okay, I understand. The data says this, but your goals say this. How can we work this goal to meet where my son is today?" So, yeah, I changed a lot. My son
Right.
has turned me into a beast.
Now you help other parents step into their power to represent their children better. So now you're helping with this empowerment as well.
Yeah, one thing about parents, I when I meet a parent and they hire me to be an advocate, I tell them it's books you should buy. As much as I advocate for your baby, you should go harder because that is your baby. You should feel empowered to know this information and make sure your kid is getting everything they need, especially in the school system. Unfortunately, the teachers are underpaid, overworked, and you being a part of that support system is super important.
That's a real good point that is those teachers are overworked. They're not probably paying as much as attention as they should. So as a parent needs to advocate and speak up like my child needs this.
Right.
So it's really stepping into that and empowering those adults. So your books are helping those parents understand this data and how to align with those goals.
Normally, what I do, we go over the IEP, the parents send me the IEP, and we go over it together. I go over the goals and ask them, what are your goals that you want for your kid? I'm going to read my vision statement for my son. This year, I did something a little bit different. This year, I went in the school says, I'm my son advocate first. I'm his mom second. But when I'm in the role of mom, I'm a mom. But anyway, I put in here, as an advocate for my son, Zachariah Hurd, I envision a future where he thrives in independence, equipped with essential life skills like toileting, writing his name, and confidently asking for help. So this is something me and the parent will go over. Like, what do you need for your kid? What do you envision for your kid? Because the IEP is super personal. It's really individualized to that person. And then I come up with a quote, and it's like, with guidance, patience, and belief, I can rise to my fullest potential and achieve more than I ever imagined. Crystal Jordan. A lot of people look at are babies and they don't realize they can achieve so much. We just gotta have patience. We have to believe they can do it. That's and guidance. Patience and guidance and belief. Our kids can achieve more than anything you can imagine. And that goes for neurotypical kids too. Neurotypical means society standard or normal. I don't use the word normal, but society standard or normal. That is neurotypical.
That's really important for that child to see that they are a human being. They do have rights. They do have goals as well, and they want to live a certain life.
Right.
But for yourself, I know this is a very stressful time. So, how are you dealing with all this stress? How are you taking care of yourself?
Oh, I never been asked that before. How I deal with my stress is I get my feet done, my nails done, and my hair. My hair is my biggest that's my biggest time to de-stress with my stylist, get my hair done, get it locked, get it twist, and get cute. Another thing I like to do is go running. I really de-stress with running, and I like hiking. So I like to be active or get cute. Either or active or cute are the two things that gets me to where I need to be.
That's really good. That's self-care, not to neglect yourself because we can get really stressed out and forget about us. If you're taking care of yourself, you can better help your son. So that's very important. And you're helping these other women standing to their power. And I also saw that you're helping Black authors as well, getting their voice out there. So how are you helping these Black authors get their voice heard?
Mhm. So a way that I help Black authors get their voice heard is I have a publishing company called Sisterhood Publishing, and I help moms and grandmoms become published authors. You have a vision. We go over the process. It can be one-on-one. It can be weekly. It depends on your schedule, and we work on publishing your book.
Right. That's really important to get all these voices out there. Like you were in the beginning, like you didn't see anybody looked like your son. We know
Right.
need to get all of our voices out there that we all have something to contribute. So that is very important to do this
Yes.
work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's really important work that you're doing out there and to recognize yourself that it's okay to take care of myself, to enjoy life, to have fun, and stepping into that because I can just see you're glowing because you owned your power. You're not allowing the system to dedicate how your child should be raised. So that's really, really important work.
Thank you. I appreciate it because, like, I'm not gonna lie, having an autistic kid or having a kid in general is stressful. I pray, I talk to God. I thank God every day for my child. He's nonverbal, but guess what? He is still love, and love don't need words. I know he loves me. He just don't say it, but I know he loves me.
So that's another challenge that he is nonverbal. How
Mm.
do you ensure that his needs get met because he can't express themselves in a typical way?
That's an amazing question. My son has an AAC device that is a communication device. That is new. We're working on that. He brings things to you. He points to it. He's kind of on a schedule base. He's a schedule based child. So we kind of know what he wants because of the time and how everything's scheduled.
You have a system in place so he can get
Oh,
his needs
yes.
met.
The system is, oh my God. You should see the calendar I created for his therapist. Somebody said, Chris, you're running people away. I said, I'm just very detailed. We use token boards. We use visual aid stuff. When I tell you Zach gets his needs met, he gets his needs met.
So it's another challenge for the school too, is that it's a nonverbal child. So you really have to stand in and be an advocate because he really can't speak up for himself.
Now he can, but he goes to an amazing school. His principal is amazing. He's in the autistic unit in his school. The teacher, what I love about her, she wears a AAC lanyard. It's literally a lanyard with pictures and words. So, and it's also pictures on every kid's desk because most of my son's classmates are nonverbal or not speaking or non-vocal. They have the words on their table. It's pictures. It's like pets. Pets is a picture exchange communication system. You have pets all on the door. So for my son in his school, in his setting, that is not the case. If he goes to the bathroom, he can request it. If he want his tablet, he can request it. He also has a low functioning AAC device at school as well. I push for that. It's also about You as a parent being that advocate and getting what your kid need in that class setting. I ask questions like that. How can my son is nonverbal? How can you communicate? So I start seeing the lanyards. I said, okay, what's on his this? I'm big on being consistent. I always send pics. I create my own pic system and I email it to everybody in his life to have it. Like his speech therapist have it, his school has it. I have it. You got it. Let's do it.
That's really interesting work you're doing with these devices, probably improving the school system as well, making them aware that there's better ways to communicate.
Thank you. Yeah, I pushed for that and he has it now. I technically don't like his AAC device at school because they let him bring it home per my request. Parents, you can request to bring home your kid's AAC device, depending on the school system in that state. I don't technically like his device from school, but we're gonna let them keep it. I'm gonna make some changes to it. I do know that much. Um, I just haven't done it yet. I seen it for the first time this week because he got it for the first time last week. I'm gonna make some changes because I don't like the pictures on there. I'm gonna need to change them to fit him.
Once again, it's stuff that doesn't look like him, doesn't represent him, doesn't resonate with him.
Everybody knows when they go to his therapist, even his speech therapist know if it's not, I'm not trying to make this a race thing, but if it doesn't represent how he looks, how he gonna know that the word is I? So I take a picture of him for because he's I. Me, I take a picture of him for the word me. I need it to be him. He's the representation. This book is him. This is his face. I just turned it into a book. When I say representation, I need him to be represented. Literature, in the class, in life. This is my mission.
So he knows who he is and he's not being defined by others. He knows exactly who he is and
Right.
what he stands for.
Right.
So, what kind of nuggets of wisdom will you impart onto parents that have a newly diagnosed child? What's the first steps that you would recommend they take?
Oh, so if your child was just diagnosed, my first advice is breathe. Please take it in. I want you to take it in and you had the time to process it. I want you to start looking for your therapist for your kid. If it can be speech, it can be ABA, it can be OT, it can be play therapy. Play therapy is paid out of pocket. It can be horse riding therapy, pay out of pocket. Swimming lessons out of pocket. Find something you can put your kid in that can push them to be the best they can be. But start with ABA. I'm pro ABA. I don't believe in turning my kids to make him neurotypical. Once you start the process of getting him or her the resources they need, take time to pour into yourself. You can't pour into your child if you pour from an empty cup. I can tell you from experience, my son had OT, speech, ABA, something else, feeding. He had all these therapies. I was pouring from an empty cup. I was drained. I was depressed. I was going through so many different emotions. Now I pour from my overflow. If your kid's diagnosed, just breathe, ask for resources, and keep the ground running.
That's a really important factor is just take a breath because it's probably so overwhelming, so much fear, so many
Mm.
mental stories come in from that. It's like take a breath, slow down, and just take it slow, I would say. Probably just start reading things, reaching out to people like yourself and saying there's experts out there. Just reach out to them to let you know those first steps. But it's so important to take a breath, to take care of yourself, to have a spa day, to have a salon day, and do those things so you can keep yourself fresh and ready to go for the challenges. 'Cause I'm sure every day is probably new challenges for you.
Everything's pretty much the same. Like for me, my son mouths things. So I'm trying to work on redirecting him and find another way for him to mouth things he mouth things that's not edible. Um, and then certain behaviors that I'm trying to redirect and figure out how we can work on his behavior to make it better and safer for him. So those are my everyday challenges. But other than that, it's the same old every day.
You're still trying to make sure that he's safe, that everything around him is safe, that he knows what isn't safe and what he puts in his mouth. That's lots of challenges that you probably don't even think about. But to a lot of new parents, we like, is this safe for him? How do I tell him that's not safe? And communicating to him on that. So it's
Right.
so that's really important stuff. I would let go of the same old because we wanna be complacent. We want to say you pretty much have to be on guard all the time, and that can be very stressful to keep an eye on what is going on with him. So I would just caution away from the same old because unfortunately people get caught into that trap and wonder why life is going astray. You really have to stay on
Mhm.
guard and say, "Ah, I'm seeing this behavior here. Let's see what we can do to change this." The
Yes.
same
I'm trying to find different strategies to help him.
which will help other kids because 'cause you'll put them into the school system.
Yes, I actually sent my son's teacher a sensory plan breakdown. I know she looked at that email like I sent her a whole breakdown. I said, "You can use it for the other kids too, but this is what I want for him." And then but I'm a creative because what I'm thinking about don't exist. So I have to go to Dollar Tree and actually build it, and then I'm gonna take it to the school and see how that works.
It's a good idea, again, the actual example. So you're really an advocate. You're really stepping into the advocate role, which is really impacting the other children that you may not even be aware of. It's this ripple effect that we forget.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm just saying that's a ripple effect that this conversation will have for these new parents that will see this video perhaps someday and say, ah, Crystal has some good tips here. I need to take a breath, relax, get her book because my child doesn't look like all these other children.
Right. And that's the beauty of this journey. In the beginning, I didn't call myself an advocate, but I am now. That's the title that God gave me and other people gave me. And I would say, this is my passion and I'm happy I'm here.
But it's more than an advocate that you're empowering parents, you're empowering other authors. I mean, you really have taken this many directions after your son was born.
Yes, my son has changed my life. And yes, it's all everything I do is about empowerment. Everything from becoming her magazine to publishing, from the Zachariah world. Every brand I have created since having him focus on the word empowerment.
Is there something that we haven't addressed that you would like to discuss?
So 2025, I am dropping a nonprofit geared towards parents. I'm also working on something I'm launching April 2nd. I'm going to stream that live on my YouTube channel. I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure that out. I am working on something major. I'm doing a whole launch for what I'm working on. And that's it, you guys. I'm the co-founder of Become Her Magazine. Beyond that, the autism stuff is coming 2025.
You're really stepping into that empowerment role. It's really important for parents to be empowered, to take a breath, because when you're rushing around scrambled, you're not empowered. Take a breath. Things will come to you as you need them. And there's people like Crystal out in the world that can help guide you through this, which sounds like a really confusing and difficult IEP process.
But if you're a parent and you're new, you're gonna be scared. It's gonna come up difficult. But once you get in there, IEPs are not hard. I just had an IEP meeting with my son's school like a couple weeks ago, and it was the best IEP meeting I've ever attended. It was so good. It was because I intentionally met with everybody before the IEP. I was the advocate, not the mom. And with me meeting with the teacher first, me meeting with the speech therapist, me meeting with the OT, me meeting with everybody on his support team, it made it easier. So for me now, IEPs are not scary. It's amazing because that's a support system that my son has.
So I'm not familiar with this IEP process. So you talk about a lot of data. When they collect this data, is it about giving him tasks and things to do? How does that work?
So when you have an IEP, you have a SMART goal. A SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable. R is for I always forget the word for R, and T is for time. So with the data, it helps you with the baseline. Like a goal for one of my sons is he will recognize A through M with an 80% base level. Because that's part of the data. It's smart because it's specific. It's M because it's measurable. It's I forget what the R is, y'all. And the T is time. It's 4 out of 5 trials. The data is so important to have and know the data for your kid, for you the baseline makes it. Like, I remember a year ago, the baseline was too low. I said, "Why the baseline so low?" He's exceeding at this level. Let's raise it to 80%. He can achieve it. So, that's why data is important for IEP.
Right. So you have that
You can see the kid
baseline.
process. Yeah, you can see your kid process and progress.
So you do the baseline every year to gauge his progress and where he needs help, where he's growing, where he's excelling, and then building on that. So that's really important work that you're doing. Autism empowerment. It's really about stepping into this power and that we all have it. Because the show is the vibrant soul, that we're all vibrant souls. And this is our current human experience. It doesn't have to define us because we are the one light.
I love that. And I feel like I'm a vibrant soul because when I walk in a room, I command it. And when I walk into an IEP meeting, I command it because I want to make sure that kid or my kid or your kid is advocated for. And we're getting the goals that your kid needs to be successful in school and beyond.
How could people reach out to you?
You can reach me on social media. I am Crystal Jordan on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it, you'll find me. You need to email me to be an advocate or you just want to work with me. My email is crystaljordan.advocate@gmail.com. Or if you want to interview me, same thing. And if you want to support my books, go to zachariahworld.com or you can also go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, One Book in a Million to buy my books as well. But if you want to support me directly, go to zachariahworld.com.
So as we're wrapping up here, is there any last words of wisdom you would part on the audience?
If you're a parent and your kid or your loved one was just diagnosed with autism, I recommend you being understanding and being patient and
Mm,
get ready for your life to be forever empowered.
I like that. Forever empowered.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed having you on the conversation. Thanks again, Crystal.
Thank you so much.